That's what it was in place for, and I agree with it. And of course, I told every tow company owner, submit your application. I mean, I'll make sure the criteria the city council put in place, you meet them. Once you meet them, I'll submit it to city council, and if y'all approve it, so be it, you'll be on rotation list.
I have a question.
Councilman
Yes, sir.
Gonzalez.
On section 21, it has, our other subcontracted towing company. So where does that lead?
Okay.
Where they from or what?
Sir, okay, so this is the thing. Not all towing companies in Rio County have 2, 3 towing trucks. Or they don't have the big giant tow trucks that pick up 18-wheelers and heavier cars. So by this ordinance, it was already in place. This ordinance explains the little man per se, that only has that tow truck. If he's on the rotation, we're gonna call him. And if it's a big 18-wheeler, he's responsible subcontracting somebody that does. But we're not gonna take him out of rotation. It's his turn, he doesn't have the services, he's responsible to make sure to get the services where we need.
So then that puts it back around the rotation, or it'll be the one there?
No, he uses
No,
the
I see what you're
contract.
saying. No.
This is, personally, this is what I would say. If they, when they apply, they should list what they can provide.
Right.
And if they cannot provide, if they cannot provide a service for commercial vehicles, then we go to the next person that can provide the commercial vehicle services. Because what happened in the past is we had people that would call Texas Towing, and Texas Towing was coming down here, and they were doing things, or they would call someone from another city, and that's how other tow companies were getting into Pearsall. Was
Correct.
using someone locally and saying, hey, just put us with you, we'll give you a cut, and we all make money. In which that's what I think we should avoid, and just use local tow companies. They list what they can provide, what they provide, we give.
And, go ahead, and then, go ahead.
But I think the reason that's on there, section 21, is just, because again, you'll have situations where you'll have a wreck, right? You'll have a light vehicle and a heavy vehicle. You still need, whoever called to that, still needs the support of somebody that can haul a heavy vehicle. So in essence, what that's saying is, say the light vehicle, somebody just just to pick up light vehicles, they're still getting the call, they're gonna make money, the subcontractor is. So that basically says, okay, well, you use your rotation spot, if that makes sense, because you're making money off of the subcontractor work. That's where that's kind of going with that.
They're still gonna send us a bill. They pay for the subcontractor, but they're still gonna send us a bill.
And
Still have-
they did,
okay.
at that meeting, they did indicate that there's not a lot of really big wrecks in the city.
Not in the
It does
city.
happen, but really the heavy, right, I mean, he said there are just very few heavy tows in the city, so most of ours is gonna be the minor. Any other questions? Anybody else? Chief, thank you very much. Okay, well, we have a, motion and a second, if, there's no other questions. This is not an action
Yeah,
item.
on that, Mayor, what I'm asking is, again, that you review it, this hasn't been a point of discussion with all the tow companies. The changes that are there, if there's any questions you may have, because what I would like to do is bring it back at the next meeting, and have this approved, assuming there's not any changes to this. And you can see what I did and what was done as far as the actual ordinance. If you look back at the fee schedule, which is on page 56 of your packet, you'll see that most of the fee schedule mirrors what TDLR is what's already there. What the challenge is gonna be for us and for the county is gonna be making sure that we all agree that is the fee schedule. And that's where, again, we wanted to bring it to the council because you may get phone calls on this, and you haven't already.
And I believe, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, you could actually go on TDLR and you can see, well, I don't have it over here.
Oh, you don't see it.
Okay.
You can see the fees,
Yeah.
you can see the fees of the other tow companies in the city of Pearsall or the surrounding areas, every tow fee. They're required to list it on TDLR.
This mirrors what the state's, basically, keeping control of.
Okay.
And again, this will stop any price gouging. Has there been price gouging? I'm not gonna point fingers at anybody, but sometimes we do get over cost. And that's when I meet up with the tow truck driver and ask him, hey, break it down for me, explain to me why you're charging me, you know, $1,500 for this and that, when it's supposed to be $175. You know, and that's, when I sit down with the city M and explain to him how we're spending, you know, using your dollars, tax dollars, to maintain, service for this community.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief. Any other questions for the chief? Because we'll see this again, we want to move forward with that in conjunction with the county. Thank you, Chief. Moving on now to item 9G, I'm gonna turn it over to Fred.
I'll pass this over to him.
Hey, Chris.
It's a big guy.
All right, update on the brush disposal project. The original scope, contract has been fulfilled as of 1/12/2022. And so far, the change order is what's left. And there is progress on the change order. The unique change, I mean, the change was, the sifting was supposed to happen on site, but the equipment was too heavy for mobilization, so it's been, it stayed where it's at 100 County Road 2013. And that's where the change order is taking place. Any questions?
What was that address?
100 County Road 2013, it's in your packet, by the way, I don't know what page I would read, but
It was on page,
This is in regards to the brush.
correct, brush disposal
I
project.
actually passed by that the other day. It looked pretty.
It's nice, it really good.
It was a lot better than what it was.
Sure is.
it's on page, heck, I don't know that it's in there.
I just wanna know whose brush was left behind.
That's the,
The report's in the other one.
I love.
It's on, we can get that, but it's on page 59.
Oh, really?
The actual picture, but there is that discussion of where the
Back to square one.
No, council, let me address that. It was important that we get rid of the pile. You guys remember, important that we get rid of the pile. And very much in tune with not allowing it to get to that degree. Now, very shortly, I think we'll have some presentations to the council of what we're gonna do with that. We've got a couple options on the table. We're gonna make sure TCEQ is on board with how we dispose of that going forward. But very much, the pile that's there is very manageable, and we've got a couple of options. So shortly, you'll be seeing what we're gonna do with that, but we are not gonna let it get back to where it was, or even close. And I think just the bottom line is we're gonna get some of that topsoil back, is that?
Yes, I mean, that is part of the change order, and correction, you do not have this brush report. I will get you some copies here in a little bit. The only thing is left to do is a change order, and there is progress on that, and the timeline for that is Friday would be the end point.
how much dirt are we getting?
We're roughly, he took about 400 yards to sift, and we're hoping in getting about 110 out of it, back to the practice fields over here at the park.
Oh, we're using that as a practice field.
Well, we're gonna kind of resurface, the staff is, not them.
Yeah.
They're just
I mean,
sifting it.
because I passed by there and it looked pretty.
It's pretty nice, yeah, but part of the change order was, they were gonna sift through some of that stuff, and they've taken all the debris out,
Yeah.
you know.
Part of what we're gonna do as far as like, manage, because TCQ is asking how we're gonna do this managing. Part of what we're gonna do this month is we work on a management plan to submit to TCQ, to make sure they understand, actually revising our application, Hector's I have it on my desk, to basically rework the application with TCQ so they understand what we're taking in, what, you know, how we manage all our stuff, and so we're gonna have to show proof that we are managing it the way we're supposed to.
I applaud y'all because for so many administrations, we try to get this done and taken care of. And y'all took this bull by the horns, y'all took care of it, and I applaud y'all for that.
Thank
Because it's something that needed to be done and y'all got it done.
And
Thank y'all.
Councilman Leal, thank you very much, and council, thank you guys for taking the initiative and the direction, so very, very, very exciting there, Hector. Please extend the thank you to the staff and Mr.
Sure
Monroe.
will. Yeah.
Well done.
Okay.
Any questions? No more questions?
Anything else? Okay, council, if you would look at items 9H through K, there's a worksheet there on your station, and we're gonna talk about that. we have been, with COVID and the other thing that's happening, we've kind of let some of our committees go by the wayside, and starting late last fall or even earlier, there's a really push to get these instituted and back up and running. And we had a round of it last in December of appointments to some boards, and we have some more slots open. And so, the request, of course, I sent out this morning, was that if you've got candidates, that you be sure that you call them, and it's folks that will come. And so what we've got, these are the 4 boards that we still need slots for. Board of Adjustment, you see it needs 3, Charter Review 3, Citizens Advisory Board is 5, and then the Citizen Advisory Board has a total of 12 members, and it can have 2 city council members. Currently, right now, there were 3 sitting on there because at the time we started it, Tiffany was not on the council, so we need to kind of adjust that a little bit. But it's made up of 8 citizens, 2 city staff, and 2 council members. So just in a second, Mr. Leal, and I'll call on you, but what we're gonna do is together, and the way that we did that is, we'll go down each council member, list your candidates, and for an example, if Board of Adjustments, we have a total of 5 candidates, each council member can only vote 3 times. And that way, the ones with the most votes win. It worked last time, or is appointed, it worked last time. So moving forward, now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask for a motion from the council to approve, first and second, to discuss and consider and appoint each of these ones, so we can do it all at one time. Once we're done, we'll call for a vote, we'll have questions, and then we'll vote on the appointment. So, that being said, now, before we get started, is there anybody that needs, any more direction on how to do this? If you don't have anybody to appoint, you know, that's not a problem, but we wanna try to get these things in place. Yes,
I
Councilman?
got a question. Did we, by chance, do we advertise, or has there anyone came forward that wants to serve on these boards?
I think there was, the list, I think what we were doing was the council was soliciting, we haven't like advertised for any, as far as the staff, we have not put anything out for.
Can we do that? Cause I know I've had trouble. I try to ask and they don't wanna do it, so maybe we need to try that.
I mean, I'm just saying, because the people that actually come forward and say they wanna do it,
Yeah.
they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, I need you to show up.
Right,
No.
yeah.
And that's true, and I mean, it's up to each one of you council. I know how I interview my candidates, and so, again, that doesn't mean that they're gonna for sure show up. I said, don't volunteer if you're not gonna come, because that just doesn't work. And so,
Well, I let you guys know.
so, yes, Councilman Hernandez.
First question, I thought we filled the TERS board last time.
There was one that didn't want to serve. Mr.
Okay,
Sullivan.
and with that being said, why can't we go back to
Oh, yeah.
the members that were not selected, ask them first
Yes,
before we move on?
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, you guys set this. You guys, but in the name of moving on, let's formulate a plan and move on. And so, if you look at you should have 2 sheets there as an example. The first one up is the Board of Adjustments. So there, we only had 2 candidates, and both of those were added. So in that particular column, we need 3 more. I have one. I'm sure you guys have somebody. So moving on down the line now. In the case, I believe the case that Mr. Hernandez is talking about would be Sandra Rodriguez. She didn't get appointed, but the library board doesn't need anybody else, so that's not an issue. But on ethics board, they don't need anybody. The 2 that need some, we had some candidates. We had Stephen Williams and Roy Lisak on the citizens board, and then we had Andrea, I think it's Martinez, and she didn't get appointed. So I would say put their names back on there again, especially on the Citizens Advisory Board, we need 5. Which is the Citizens Board on the bottom. Some of these too, and I would say if Stephen Williams or Andrea or the person that I have for the TERS Board doesn't get elected on that one, just put them on another. I know my candidates, they're anxious to serve, so it's not exclusive to that.
Mayor, may I ask, can we get in contact with these individuals first and ask them before we appoint them?
Well, I would definitely do that. I have, so if you,
No, the ones that you have, but I'm saying the
Yeah.
other ones that did not get nominated, but we're considering bringing them back. I mean, ask them before we
Sure,
appoint them,
of
because
course.
we appoint them and then they don't show up. and then-
Yes, yeah, that makes difficulties, but that was the hopes of my text this morning, that you guys that had appointed would reach out and say, hey.
I just don't have no one to appoint,
Okay,
you know.
Okay, and I understand, well, let's go through this and see if we, the more that we can get done, you know, the better, and so, and I would tell the council, if you're not sure if your candidates will come, then don't appoint anybody. But going down the list, Lionel, for those four, do you have any that you would like to appoint?
Charter Review, Frank Ramirez, he used to be in the planning and zoning years back. Citizens Advisory Board, Ana Ramirez.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Davina's not present. James, anybody?
No, sir.
Nobody? Okay, Sonia? Nobody? Brenda's not present. Tiffany?
I don't.
Okay, and you, Julian? Anybody?
I didn't ask anybody again, but I had Andrea on the church board, so put it back on, I mean, my own.
Okay, Andrea Martinez? Okay, well, in this case, just looking at the list, we can go through and vote, but there's not enough to fill any one of those, except in the church board, we can vote on that. But what I'm gonna do then, I'm gonna get you guys to vote on the church board. Everybody has one vote, so you can vote one or the other. And then after this, we'll vote on, we'll make a motion for all four items, H, I, J, and K, and then these people will be appointed.
Okay.
So at this point, the only contested appointment for committee is the TERS board. It's Andy Martinez, isn't that her name? Okay, and Andrea? Okay, excuse me. Okay, so so you get one vote. We have 5 council members, myself makes, we have 6. So, there's not a tie. All right, so, Councilwoman Hernandez, your vote
For her.
for either Andrea or Brian Blackburn.
Andrea.
Okay,
You also have Stephen Williams, I think, that was on the church board. The church was one, Brenda was nominated.
okay, we haven't talked to him. Brenda's not here. Council, would you prefer, I mean, Councilman Leal, I mean, you made a good point. He hasn't been contacted. I'm happy to put him on the list, but council, you give me direction.
Well, we are nominating people.
Say, sir?
I said, you asked us to nominate,
Okay.
now what are you asking us to do?
No one nominated them, so let's go, move forward.
Okay, all right, that was just a question. He had been on there before, and I believe he'd make a good candidate. So anyway, we're going on the list. Councilman Gandara, your vote, Andrea or Brian?
Blackburn.
Okay, that's one. Councilwoman?
Andrea.
Julian?
Andrea.
Okay, and James.
Ooh, I can make this interesting.
It does make it really
Oh,
interesting.
I can make this very interesting.
Watch how I play it. Go ahead. Watch how I play it.
Blackburn,
Okay, I'm gonna go for Andrea.
I played it well.
Okay. All right, okay. Well then, council, these are our appointed folks. You can go down the list there, I won't read them all, but we are going to now make a motion to approve these folks to the requested copy.
Slow move for H through K, correct?
Okay, there is a motion to approve the appointed folks by Councilman Leal. May I have a second? There's a second by Councilwoman Talamontes. Is there any questions about what we've done? Hearing none, I'm gonna call for a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes, James.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, folks. Got that done. We're moving down the road. Good. We will bring this up one more time. So you guys use the same format. We'll get you something in the next worksheet, and please see if we can't get these committees in place and operating, which will help us, help the committee. And it's good that we have community input. All right, thank you. Moving on to item 9. Where are we? L.
Slow move.
discuss and consider contracting Fairfield County to conduct the May 7th general election. May I have a motion? There's a motion by Councilman Leal, there's a second by Councilwoman Hernandez. This is pretty cut and dry. Is there any questions?
We do it every year.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Crystal, did you have anything to add?
In my long memo.
I think we're done. I think we're done.
I do
Any
have.
questions
There
y'all
is-
have as to why? That's-
There is a comment, Council